There's something that most of us have been told our whole lives about how change work. Work harder, be more disciplined, want it enough, put in the effort. And I believed that too for a long time because it makes sense, doesn't it? More input, better output. It's like supply and demand. That's how most things work. But there is a study from the 1980 Winter Olympics that made me stop and question everything I thought I understood about effort and about what actually drives the results that we get. And by the end of this video, you're going to see your own approach to change quite differently. And I genuinely mean that. So I'm going to walk you through this study, what was tested, what the researchers actually found, and why the results were so unexpected by so many people. And then I'm going to show you exactly where this shows up in everyday life, in the way that people approach their work, their habits, the patterns in their life that they've been trying to shift for years. And I'll leave you with one question, just one, that I think is worth sitting with for a little while. Now, most of us have grown up with a really clear picture of how performance works. You want to get better at something, you practice. You put in the hours, you show up consistently, even when you don't feel like it. I think of the gym in that way. I don't always feel like getting up in the morning, going for a walk, going to the gym, going for a bike ride. But I know if I want results, I've got to put the work in, right? So that's the way we think about performance. The more effort you pour in, the better the outcome. It's just how it works. And there is truth in that. Of course, effort absolutely does matter. I'm not here to tell you that it doesn't. But what I've noticed in my own life and with the people that I work with is that two people can put in the same amount of effort and get very different results. Same hours, same resources, same environment, and one of them will move forward and the other one stays exactly where they are. Now, for a long time, I put that down to natural ability or timing or luck even. And then I came across this study and something really clicked when I heard this. So in the lead up to the 1980 Winter Olympics, a group of Soviet athletes were divided into 4 training groups. Right now, each group, they spent their preparation time differently. Some focused almost entirely on physical training, and others spent a significant portion of their time in mental visualization, which meant seeing their precise movements in their mind's eye in detail, and also seeing the results they intended to achieve. Right? So the breakdown was this. Group 1 trained physically 100% of the time, no visualization at all. Group 2 did 75% physical training and 25% of their time was spent visualizing. Group 3 split it evenly. They went 50-50, and group 4 did 25% physical training and spent 75% of their time on mental visualization. Now, if effort is everything, as so many of us have been brought up to believe, then group 1 should have won. They worked the hardest. They put 100% of their time into physical training. But actually, it was group 4 that performed the best. These were the athletes that physically trained the least, but who spent 75% of their time, their preparation time, believing in precise detail what was possible for them and seeing in their mind's eye what they believed. They outperformed everyone else. Now, Henry Ford once said, "Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right." And I used to think that was just a really cool motivational quote, like, oh yeah, of course, that makes sense. But this study proves that, right? Not philosophically, not in a motivational quote kind of way, that proves it measurably. And what you believe shapes what's possible in actual real world outcomes. So what does this actually mean outside of elite sport? Because most of us are not training for the Olympics. I know I certainly am not. Think about the last time you tried to change something. Perhaps it was a habit that you've had for a long time, or a pattern, the way you respond when you're challenged by someone or something, the way you handle a conversation with a particular type of person, or even the way that you approach getting fitter or healthier. Most people approach that the way that Group 1 approached the Olympics. More effort, more discipline, just push through, try harder this time. And sometimes that works for a while, but then, life happens, you have a hard week or a stressful moment in your life, or, a conversation doesn't go the way that you expected it to. And the old pattern, that old habit, often avoidance, comes back. And it's as if the effort never happened. And that's because effort was doing all of the work. Underneath the behavior that you're trying to change, that habit, the behavior that's driving the habit, there's almost always a belief that's been there much longer. A story about who you are or who you aren't, or what you're capable of, or what tends to happen when you try. And that belief sits in the background and quietly cancels out all of your effort every time without you even realizing. I think about the people that I work with. We're talking about intelligent, capable, self-aware people who have evidence all around them that they are good at what they do. They've got a track record. They get results. They have people telling them that they're good. And yet, in certain moments, it might be a high stakes conversation. It might be in a leadership situation, something that really matters. There's still a voice, like this small voice in the back of their mind that says, "Are you sure?" Now, that voice isn't louder than logic because it's stronger. It's just older. It has been there a long time. And it's been influencing your behaviors for a long time without you knowing what it's doing or where it's coming from. So here's what I'd like to leave you with. When you think about the thing that you're trying to change or the result that you've been working toward, what do you actually believe is possible for you? And I'm not asking what you hope or what other people have achieved or what you think the answer should be. I'm asking what you genuinely believe in that quiet part of your mind is actually available to you. Because that answer, more than the strategy, more than the schedule, more than the effort that you put in, that is what is shaping your results. The athletes in Group 4, they weren't more talented than the rest of them. They weren't luckier. They just put their energy into something that Group 1 left out completely. And that's available to all of us. So if you're now curious about what might be running under the surface of the habits that you have been trying to shift maybe for years, the things that you've been trying to change in your life, I've put something together that can help you start exploring that. So it's called What's in Your Suitcase. And it's a short, free activity that walks you through identifying one belief, just one, that you've been carrying and deciding whether it still needs to be true. So the link for that is in the description below. Thanks so much for watching today. Remember, when you change your mind, you change your life. Bye for now.